not? What a butthole.
Because he's an asshole singer, that's why.
Let me get the second camera situated in real quick.
Which mic?
That one's fine. Yeah, nice shot of the belly.
Mm-hmm.
Will you sit down real quick?
Yep.
Pretty stoked, dude. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, man, it looks good.
Thank you.
Just need a freaking. If we had a bigger room, I'd just put a freaking huge couch somewhere. Get a stand. Like, I don't know, that's like. The podcast I listen to with the guys that help Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
They have their own, and like they're just in this huge office, and they're just on couches everywhere, and it's just.
Cody Cowboy. He's getting He's getting a new facility too.
Who?
McAfee.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's buying.
They just redid that building they're in now.
Well, no, he's buying some sort of. You know, like Rob Dyrdek's Fear Factory.
Yes.
It's like that. He said he talked about like they had like a whole episode dedicated to them, like.
Just talking about.
He wants to do like a go-kart thing outside, and like a par 3 golf course. Hold on a second. Hello.
Hey,
What's up?
your mom has a password on Rated R Movies?
I have no idea what it is. I have no idea.
I'm just trying to watch Grown Ups too.
I know my parents. Oh, hold on a second. Let me stop this real quick. Yeah, no, they're talking about building a par 3, a golf course, a go-kart track, having like a sand pit, having an indoor dodgeball.
Really?
Yeah, whatever you call it.
Wow. I mean, I could see that. Pat, he's all over the place. He's like, he switched. I mean, he switched radio stations like 3 times in the past like 2 years.
Did you hear what he said about Skip Bayless?
I did not.
He's making Skip Bayless has signed a $32 million for 4 years on Undisputed.
Are you serious?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I mean, now there's some stuff that Skip Bayless talks about. I mean, that's actually right. But most of the time I listen to Skip, it's just,
Yeah,
like, dude. And the only reason he is on that platform is because he's the one that covered the SMU situation back in the early 80s.
what was that?
The death penalty SMU got, because SMU got caught. You never heard about that?
Vaguely. I mean, you've talked about it. That was
Yeah,
forever
so
ago.
like SMU back in the early 80s was like becoming a power college program in the
Southern
Southwest
Methodist
Conference.
University. Right?
Yeah, and they had their best player that they had was Eric Dickerson, who went on to break like, I think it was, I don't know, O.J. Simpson's like career rushing record or something like that.
Yeah.
And anyway, while he was on campus, I mean, SMU straight up got caught paying Dickerson, giving players like cars, giving them money, and everything. Like, it's just plain as day. Like, even the freaking, I don't think the dean admitted to it, but they pretty much found evidence that he was allowing it to happen. Like, he knew it was going on. And
What did Skip do?
well, he was basically the number one reporter they had on it at the time. Like, he was, from what I know, he was. Like, who do I compare? Like, at like the Adam Schefter of the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, when Brett Favre was going through that whole retirement situation,
Yeah.
like Adam Schefter was the guy to be sure to cover that on.
Right.
And Skip was kind of like the same thing. So.
What's Smooth?
Yeah, smooth. There you go. I'm trying to find the last time we did this. We were talking about the Andes and Wendy's debacle or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just thought about that, and I'm trying to find out I'm trying to find a. I swear to God.
Trying to find a what?
I'm trying to find out more like what happened because something happened. And I don't want to. I don't know if it was the mid '80s, '90s, or '70s. Like, I don't know. These restaurants. I'm trying to think of a word for it. Have we started? Have we started?
Yeah.
Oh.
The last 10 minutes.
Oh. Okay.
What was that about last week? I forgot. Or forever ago.
We're just shooting the shit, pretty much. We're just talking about everything. But okay, I'm gonna ask what happened. What happened with Wendy's restaurant and Andy's restaurant? Let's see what happens there. Bet something pulls up. Our story, Andy's. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. Like, maybe it might not have been anything that happened.
About the beef. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the beef that went down between them and whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, these corporate accounts are getting crazy. Do you follow?
Like Wendy's, they are roasting people 24/7. Okay, here's the Andy's story. Andy's restaurants. Okay, so like for those listening, if you don't know what Andy's is, there's Andy's restaurant in Malvern. There's Andy's restaurant in Arkadelphia. There's even an Andy's restaurant in Magnolia. And the only reason I know that is because
Are those the only three?
I ate those. And those are the only three I know of. I'm sure there's more in Arkansas, but those are like I said, those are the only three I know of. But anyway, since 1970, this is straight from the Andy's website. Like I had no idea they had a website. Since 1978, Andy's restaurants have been providing Arkansas quality food and outstanding company. Locally owned, operating Andy's is fast food restaurant Jesus, I'm struggling.
Words.
Locally owned and operated, Andy's is a fast food restaurant with that hometown feeling. Andy's menu has been expanded to capture the taste buds of new patrons while offering a variety of regulars. I'm one of those people. Our famous breakfast menu is made of all kinds of stuff.
Their breakfast is freaking good.
Oh, yeah.
Their breakfast is freaking good.
Yes. Chad House. It's house, but with an A. Is it Haas? Would that be Haas?
I think it's Haas, yeah.
Haas. I don't know. That's weird. But I don't know. Maybe there wasn't anything that went down between those two. But I feel like,
Was Wendy's that big in the 80s?
I mean, they got the dude man started in the. He started in 1969. Dave Wendy or Big Dave, or whatever the name is, and
I have no
he named Wendy's after his daughter. Like his daughter is Wendy. His daughter.
How do you know all this?
Because that's like everybody knows that.
I had no idea.
You didn't know that?
No.
Really?
No.
Yeah, that's how it came. I'm trying to find his actual name because the guy's name was Dave, and
Dave Wendy. Was it Wendy?
No.
No, his daughter's name was Wendy.
I'm trying to
Right.
find his last name. Yes, Dave Thomas opened his first in November 15, 1969. He opened his very first Wendy's restaurant, Columbus, Ohio. So next time you're in Columbus, Ohio, and you stop near to a Wendy's,
Go to the Football Hall of Fame, too.
there you go. This quick service chain became known for its square beef patties. Square. Could you imagine
Being square in the 80s?
Well, I mean, yeah. But could you imagine living in 1969, going to this restaurant, and you're getting just a normal burger, and the freaking patties are squares?
Mind
It's
blown.
like SpongeBob.
Surprised they stayed in business.
Yeah, 70s. November of 1970, they introduced the first pickup window. That's
Revolutionary.
the first modern drive-through to the world. Oh, wow. Oh, so they actually introduced the drive-through.
Wendy's
Wendy's
did?
introduced the first modern drive-through to the world, what Dave Thomas coined the pickup window.
Well, that's why they're so freaking successful, is because they came
Yeah.
up with that.
First Canadian restaurant opened in 1975. Wendy's goes public in 1976. First Wendy's commercial was in 77. I love Wendy's. Wendy's is like my favorite. If I had to choose any fast food restaurant, it's Wendy's.
Wendy's.
I'm a huge fan.
You know what blew my mind yesterday?
What?
So I'm trying to find a book for my history class. We have to do like a book report. We get to choose our own book. Went to Books a Million, and I was going to pick up a pizza on the way back home with me and Angel could eat. And there wasn't a single book that fit into the time slot I was trying to find. And I didn't feel like, being a freaking 20-year-old. I didn't feel like calling anybody. Just downloaded the Little Caesars app, I built my pizza, paid for it online. 5 minutes later, they give me an email that has a code on it. Okay,
Uh-huh.
3-digit code. I go into the restaurant. There's like 5 people waiting to get their food. It's like 5 people waiting to get their food, and there's just it's like a refrigerator type deal, but it's just an oven with like 10 slots in it. And then like the third slot, it has my name on a little screen.
Mhm.
And so I just walk up there to the keypad and just type in my 3-digit thing they emailed me. Unlocks the thing. I grab it. I leave like 10 people in there who are waiting on their stuff, and I was just like in and out in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Revolutionary.
I personally don't like Little Caesars. The pizza it tastes like
Quality's
cardboard.
not good, but
The bread tastes like cardboard, but their service is really good. Like,
their stuffed crust is good too.
yes, but I mean, my favorite is Domino's. Like Domino's, they do the same thing except you don't do it. They actually you say the name, they enter it, and the box what you were talking about,
Yeah.
it's behind the cash register, and it just pops open, and they're just like, okay, there it is, and they grab it and they give it to you.
Tell you, man, it's so easy. Like, honestly, feel like if you took someone who died in 1940 and brought them to 2020, you think they'd
Mind blown, dude.
mind blown.
Wow. Okay, so this is kind of Dave Thomas. Okay, remember he started Wendy's in '69. He wasn't in their commercial. The first commercial came out in '82. He wasn't in the first commercial, or he wasn't in a Wendy's commercial until 1989. Like, that's just super value. You remember do you remember the super sized mini combos they used to have? Like all of these places, like McDonald's had the super sized.
Yeah, there was that documentary about it we had to watch, and
Yes,
you remember that
it was
in health
bad.
class?
Yeah, I was like, "There's no way," because this dude went around every Wendy's he could, didn't exercise, didn't do nothing, and he was an avid
No, it was McDonald's in the documentary.
yeah, but like before it happened though, he was like a big time guy that was all about exercise,
Yeah.
mental health, physical health, and he decided to make that documentary. He would eat. I think he would eat 3 meals a day from McDonald's. He would eat breakfast at like 8 o'clock in the morning, go back at like 12 o'clock, and then come back at like 5 o'clock, and get and he would only get supersized. So and at the time that was the whole deal, because like when the supersize appeared, like everybody loved it obviously, but they didn't have where they're supposed to show calories and all that other stuff like you see now. And that's what
a 2,000.
that's kind of what changed the whole game for him. But don't ask me how I know that. I have no idea.
You remember watching that thing in Miss
I do.
class?
I actually watched it in our health class. I can't remember who the teacher was, but
Was
I
it
remember
Ray?
it might have been. I have no idea, but yeah, we watched that for like 3 days in a row, and I just kind of sat back. I was like, wow, like salute to this dude. I couldn't.
We were in 8th grade, and we were talking about. We were in. Coach Keener was doing science. I was teaching science, and we were talking about food nutrition or something. I don't know why. Dude pulls me outside of class. He's like, "Hey Jones, did your dad still have that slaughterhouse video?" Because my dad, obviously taught ag and has like chicken house videos, like vegetable farm videos. Keener wanted the slaughterhouse video.
Oh, good lord.
Dude takes us all the way up to the arena in the film room, puts that on his laptop, and we're just sitting there watching like hundreds of cows just get murked and chopped up. And, like all the girls just like start gagging and freaking out. And like
Oh my god.
the only people left, like literally the only people left were dudes. Like Bailey Houck was in there. She left. There was that one weird girl, that stupid earring. I can't remember. Ashland something.
I have no idea. I barely, dude. The past couple of years, the only people I keep up that I graduated with are the guys that are around me. Like I don't, and it's nothing to the people I graduated with. I mean, if I see them in public, like I'll always say hi to them, because like they never did anything to me in high school, so like I don't have anything against them. But, yeah, I don't. I haven't like anybody out of the ordinary. Gosh, that sounds really bad. Well, like
If you're
guy-
not an
like,
ordinary
no-
person,
no, not
anybody out of your ordinary.
yes, like people that I don't see a lot and I don't hang out with a lot, but I knew that I graduated and like I'll say something to them.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna be a freaking douchebag and just like look at them and not say a word. Like
That's me, 100%.
I know that's you, but I'm not like.
Well, it's just like if I see someone that I haven't talked to, like there's people that you were like acquaintances in high school. Like if I saw like Bill or someone, obviously I'd say, hey, like if it's just someone that was just in a class with me, 10th grade, you know.
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm trying to think of the last person. Isaac Hall. Do you remember Isaac Hall? You know
Yeah, he
that
used to
dude?
work at the.
He works at
the Big Red.
the fire stand. When they have the fireworks stand in Malvern next to the Big Red.
Yeah.
He's always selling the fireworks, and I always see him. I always say something to him every year. And but he's like the only guy I ever see.
Yeah.
That's
What happened to the kid who made the memes? You know how like he is. My name Alan.
oh my boy Alan Higgins.
Alan Higgins.
I
What
remember
happened
that.
to Alan
Man,
Higgins?
you know, I saw him at Garrett's birthday party a couple of years back.
Garrett Reed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I talked to him like every chance I got. Like we talked, but since then I have no idea, man. Like, and he was a good he played football in junior high, and then he moved to Greenbrier, and then he didn't play when he got back. He just
Yeah, he moved back, didn't he?
yeah, because him and Jared Rhodes were good buddies. Our boy Jared.
That's the guy I haven't
Haven't-
talked to.
I haven't seen Jared in a minute either. Been a minute, but
Jared's
yeah.
a good dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. I miss that dude. I ain't seen him in a hot minute.
He played paintball with us in 9th grade at our house, and we went through like my mom had like 3 packages of bacon. It was like a pound and a half of bacon. Me, Jacob, Joshua, Garrett, and Jared literally ate like a pound and a half of bacon that morning and like 10 eggs.
Lance.
It was great.
Dude, no. When we're talking about like stuff that's went on at your house, like I think of the night that everybody was playing Ouija board. At
I
the
was
bottom,
literally fixing to say that.
the
dude.
bottom of your house. That was the greatest. And I almost left. Like that was the night. I remember
James left.
He did leave, but that was
James.
James at the time. Totally different person now, but because I was about to leave. That was the night after Prescott came to our place my junior year and absolutely raped us.
Yeah,
It
I
was
remember that.
bad.
Yeah.
And my dad, the next night, my dad was like, "You're coming home. You lost. You played like crap last night. You don't deserve to be out there that night." Of course, that's how it's been my whole life. Like I don't know. It's just been like. But I begged him, and he let me stay. And
It was my 17th birthday party.
yeah, that was crazy.
That was 5 years ago.
Everybody was down there playing a Ouija board, and I think
Well, they drew it on the blackboard that we wrote. Like my mom used to put the grocery list on that thing.
Yeah.
And after we ate all that bacon, we went through and like on the grocery list, we just wrote in giant letters "bacon" and it stayed there for like until we had that birthday party and they took it down and erased it. And
yeah.
Did it. Anyway, go ahead.
But I'm trying to think of the guys who didn't play. I know 2 of them were Spoon and Grant because
It was me, Spoon, Grant, Tristan.
I didn't have anything to do with it. I just
Were you in there with us? I think in my bedroom. We were playing poker while they were doing all that.
Yes, I was in there with y'all
Yeah.
because I didn't.
And
I wasn't about playing that Ouija board.
I think
stuff,
Zane
dude.
Hardis might have been in there too.
Yeah, I know downstairs it was Noah Ellis, James,
Hughes, both Hugheses.
yeah, both Hugheses.
You remember how bad that room smelled?
It was bad, really bad.
It was awful.
I think it was Sam there?
Sam was there.
He was there, and then I think it might have been Braden.
Braden might have been there.
He might have been there.
I just
He would have
remember because
been-
that
he would
entire
have either been an 8th or 9th. Yeah, he would have been an 8th grader.
that entire room was like dank sweat and smelled like cigars.
Ugh, so bad. So bad. But anyway, yeah, shout out to Noah Ellis, buddy.
Thinking that he was dying. I'll never get that dude because
he cried like a little.
We were in there
baby.
playing and we were in there playing poker with like 22 shells. So that's all we had to play with, and they were in there messing with a Ouija board, and we wanted to mess with them, and we were gonna like go around the outside and knock on their window while they were doing it, and we caught Grant. Grant was outside and caught us, and he was like, "I want in on it," and we're like, "Okay." And they like Grant had been doing it with him the whole time, so Grant started messing with him on the inside, and then the rest of us, were going to.
We're trying to switch on and off the lights.
We were
or
going to
something,
flip
or-
the breaker
Yeah,
on
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah. So they, man, no, we called someone's phone. All of us went in there. We had one person, we had Grant come through and ransack my room to make them think that like a ghost had gone through and tore it up or whatever.
Yeah.
And we got back. And they're like, "Oh my God, y'all weren't in here." And we're like, "No, dude, we weren't in here. Like all of us were in here, and y'all know that." And then while we were in there, we left someone. I think it might have been Bill's. We had Bill's phone dialed already, and just tucked it underneath a couch cushion while it was still on the line. And we just split back up, and they went back to the room to screw the Ouija board, and then we went back just to play poker. And then like 5 minutes later, we just start going like
Yeah.
into the phone, and it's like coming up out of the
man.
couch, and they start freaking out. And then we let that die down. Like we only did it once because we didn't want them to catch us. And then I was gonna go flip on the breaker or flip off the breaker, and we had someone called me, and they were standing outside, and we had killed the breaker as they had prayed something to the Ouija board or whatever. Killed the breaker, and then whenever they got to the end, like they were doing something, they freaked out, and then they were praying for the lights to come on again. And I think it was Spoon. Spoon was like, "All right, turn them on," and I hit the wrong breaker switch. But thankfully, like there was like a 5 second delay when I had to turn that switch back on and then turn the right one off. And as I turned the right one back on, it was right after they said like "Amen," and then like the lights came on right after they said "Amen."
Yeah,
And everyone's like, "Oh my God! Oh shit!" Like everybody's, and then Else is like, he's like, "We're here at the Joneses' house." It's like, "This is haunted. I think we're all gonna die." Dude was like, I don't care what he says. Dude was bawling his eyes out, dude.
Oh man,
That was so funny.
That was just one of those classic nights where you're just like, I'll never, ever forget that. Like that was just, oh man, I'll never forget that. That was now. Speaking of other things that have happened at your house, I'm kind of gonna roast myself on this. This was when unfortunately we were playing airsoft, and Isaac, come on, dude,
I'm trying to remember.
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I remember someone got shot in the ear with a
Anyway,
paintball.
we're playing airsoft, and this is probably 6th, 7th grade. Like we were just getting like
Oh,
we were
okay.
about to we were getting into airsoft. That was around the area we were getting into airsoft. Like
That was,
everybody,
5th to 8th grade.
everybody was wanting like any type of gun they could get for airsoft. So I had my little freaking pistol, which didn't shoot far, only like probably accurate from me to here, like probably 4 foot accuracy. And I'm running down the hill to get away from, I think it was either Grant. I know Blake Edwards was there because he was big into that stuff.
Okay, that would have been in like 5th grade because after
Or
Blake,
5th.
yeah,
Yeah, one of the two. Well,
might have been 6th grade.
it was 6. I don't think it was Bell. That's who it was. It was
Bell.
freaking Bell.
Okay,
Anyway, he had one of those freaking ARs, okay? And him and Grant did. And they were both on the same freaking team. Somehow.
Okay, yeah.
Somehow. So, like, they're at the top of the hill. They have the high ground, little Star Wars
Don't do it, Anakin.
thing there. And I'm running down the hill, and I'm freaking hauling. I'm getting pelted in the back. I've got 2 layers of freaking clothes on, and it still hurts. And I'm running down the hill. I don't see the electric fence in front of me.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And luckily the fence wasn't on. Thank God it wasn't. Because I did 2 front flips.
Smoked yourself.
Did 2 front flips. I hit this fence and I flip like immediately. Like as soon as it grabs my hips and my knees, it just grabs me and it flips me like really fast. And then the next one was me just doing a front flip on the ground. Like it was
I remember that now.
It was
God,
painful, but man, it was funny. Like everybody around me was laughing, and I just got up and I was like, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
I'd kill myself. I remember when I was like in 3rd or 4th grade, Blake came over. You remember the treehouse we used to have?
Yes.
And there was a
That's
little,
where they were in. That's what
Yeah.
Bell and Grant were in.
yeah, there was that little trap door in the bottom. And I think Blake got us in there one time and stuck his barrel like through the hole in the bottom and just like shot up through the thing. And all those BBs were just bouncing around, hitting us like in the back of the head and everything. And we finally we put our boot over the hole to cover it, and it was like off the bottom of our boot. Dude, I admit, like, and then he fell out of that treehouse one time too, like in third or 4th
I
grade.
remember that story too.
He had the door open and just
Didn't realize it.
took a step back, and I missed that thing. We had to tear it down a couple years ago.
Yeah, I noticed that the last time I was at your house, and because I normally never noticed that, but then we were outside. I think it was when we had the bonfire out there.
Yeah,
And-
from a birthday, I think.
Yes, and I looked over there and it wasn't there, and I was like, oh, well, I guess that's gone.
The sign on it's still inside the Thorny Hill Club.
Oh, little tribute there. I like that.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, there's just some memories you have as a kid. That dude got hurt so many times at our house. Blake did.
There was always one kid that got hurt. Like Blake was that kid
He was
when it
that
came to being at people's houses. The other kid at school that always got hurt in elementary, and it was my first year at Glenrose, was
Josh Morrow.
Chandler Youngman.
Chandler Youngman.
We would
yeah.
play
Yeah.
basketball.
He broke his arm. Yeah, like in
We would play
4th grade.
basketball every day. Like, I think we probably had, 2 recesses or 3?
Yeah, short and long recess.
Yeah, we had a short one in the morning. It only lasted probably 20 minutes.
No, it was about. I think it was 40 and 20. The
Was it?
First one was 40. Second
It's
one was
complete.
20.
Do they have three or four recesses?
Yeah, I know, and they have recess in 5th and 6th grade too. We didn't have that.
I know.
At PE twice a week.
I know. Everybody's soft nowadays. But, yeah, man, we would play basketball on that crap freaking knee grinding asphalt every day. And that dude would fall every day.
Every day.
And he would do something. But he always got back up and kept playing.
He broke his
Like-
arm too.
Yeah, and then he came back and kept playing.
Kept playing
That
with a cast on. I remember Joshua broke his arm like in 1st grade. Or he broke
I remember when Josh broke his freaking arm
fifth
at 5th grade.
I remember he broke his arm 5th
Football
grade.
practice. We were practicing. We were in 5th grade, and we were practicing the 6th graders. And, you know,
Skills were.
When-
I was over there with
when
the
you're
lineman.
when you were in Pee Wee football, you don't think about like, well, we have better talent, so like we could actually play with these guys. It's pretty much like, oh God, those are big kids. We
Yeah.
suck.
A full year.
Like not
what
like
did you-
that's the first thought in the elementary, and you don't get past that point. And that was like, and they were awful. Like those dudes in front, that grade in
That grade
front of us,
above.
they were awful.
All they
They
had-
didn't win one game throughout Pee Wee. Like they were so bad.
The only guy they had Jordan Johnson.
Had Jordan, they had Britt, they had.
Those guys were good when they got to high school though.
Oh yeah, when we got when they got to high school, it was complete. Of course, it's always what happens when you go to work and you get after it, and
Great.
exactly that's all it takes. But then they had 2 other guys that are in jail now, if I'm not mistaken. Justin Graves. They had Justin Graves, and then
No,
they
he
had
killed that, or he was an accomplice to that dude dying, I should say.
yes, and then they had. I don't know the other dude's name.
What they do?
At the time, he was a kid, long blonde hair. He left Glenrose like as soon as he got to middle school, and I don't think he did anything, but he was. I mean, who knows? He was just one of those kids that that was always into trouble. So
Yeah.
I have no idea what his name is now. He's probably a completely different dude now. So, but man, dude, getting into the communications and getting on Twitter and following a bunch of people is crazy because I get like notifications like every 5 minutes about something.
what?
Just sports in general. Like right now, I'm in a 42 Sports group chat. Which if you don't know what 42 Sports is, go follow it on Facebook. It's like the biggest
Shout out
4A,
42 Sports.
4A through 1A sports coverage team on Facebook.
We're fixing to talk basketball too in a second. Don't
Yeah.
forget.
And we talk about all kinds of stuff. Like right now, the Poen Classic is going on over there in Poen. It's a
Baseball tournament.
It's supposed to be a baseball tournament, but since COVID is here, I'm not supposed to play tournaments. So what they're doing is like a jamboree type deal. So like
What's the difference?
it's well, they might be a tournament. I don't know. I just know in the higher up classifications, there's not supposed to be tournaments.
Like 6, 7, 8.
Yes, because this past week, Prescott held a tournament at their place for baseball. Bismarck was a part of it. Washita was in it. I think Spring Hill was in it. Obviously, Prescott, Smackover, and Cameron Hunting Grove.
Well, they're fixing to lift the mask mandate. I think AC is because we talked about that in our. I have a very liberal teacher who
Welcome to the club.
Well, he told us in class that he is one of the people. If he sees you not wearing a mask in the supermarket, he'll tell you to put a mask on. And I was like, "Come on, man,
Dude.
like,
If the store or the private business does not ask you to wear a mask, you have the right not to wear a mask.
yeah."
Like,
And if you're not comfortable with it,
whether you don't like it or not.
if you don't like it, you don't shop
Exactly.
there. Shop somewhere where they make you wear a mask.
Like, I understand why people want them to wear masks, but this is America. Like, you have the right to do that. Okay? Like,
But what do you think about? Because now what started it was there's a kid who's on the student senate.
it is really, oh my God, increased the amount of Karens you see now on
100%.
Facebook, TikTok, and everywhere.
And Ken's.
Ken's, yes, that too.
He might be one. He's a cool dude, but that kind of. But the whole reason he got brought up was because this kid asked. He was like, because it's a politics of the presidency class, and he has a he's a published political science professor.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, what do you think about Texas just like pretending COVID doesn't exist anymore? And then he went on like a 5-minute deal about how like dumb it is to not. And I was like, should you wear a mask? Yeah, probably, but you shouldn't like get kicked out of a store or go to jail
If you
from the law, at least.
if you don't want to get out and get around people,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's, and this is, like, I don't understand what people, like, do people think this virus, do they just think it's going to go like that and leave?
No.
No.
Someone's got to pull the
It's
plug
going to
first.
stay here. Yeah. So it's going to stay here. I mean, that's going to happen when the numbers get low enough. And then what's going to happen when they go back up?
Yeah.
Like, it's basically just another.
You have
Like-
to rip off the Band-Aid at some point.
Yes, exactly. Like, it's becoming the new age flu. Like,
Yeah.
pretty much. I mean, people die from the flu just like this every year, unfortunately. R.I.P. T's and P's to the family. It's really aggravating. You know, and
Which I'm not anti-mask either, but I'm also
I'm not either.
I'm not anti-destroying the world's biggest economy. You know, like
Yeah.
you really got to weigh out, like,
what is more important here?
yeah, like what's the cost? Like, there's it's a pretty gruesome statistic where like someone did the calculation on what the average like human worker, like human life is worth as far as like how much they make, how much they spend. It's about $750,000 a person. So like how much? It's a terrible thing to think about. Like how much has our economy suffered for like X amount of people? Like how many people have died from not being able to maybe not starving to death from getting food, but how many people's livelihoods have been taken away from them?
How many people have committed suicide? How many people?
Yeah, that.
How many people?
yeah.
How many people have decided to get on drugs to help their
Pain.
mental, that type of stuff? Like, there was a statistic the other day. A friend of mine shared it on Facebook, and it was a statistic. Jesus Christ, statistic where in California, and I mean we're talking about California here, so like just bear with me. They canceled football season. They canceled high school football season this past fall. There was a rise in, I think, what was it? A rise in arrests, a rise in teen pregnancy by like 20%.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure, like, don't quote me on that, but it was something to that degree.
Right.
And you just had people like, well, I mean, what are we supposed to do about it? Like, COVID's taking over, so, like, there's nothing they can do. And I'm like, yeah, there is.
There's plenty you could do.
There's plenty you can do. Like, more than half of the states played football this past season.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
A lot of I think like 30. I know a lot of those they're making basketball players play in a mask.
Yes. That
Which
is
so stupid.
I don't know.
You're sweating
You're-
on people anyway.
Yeah, but, like, that's more dangerous to the player than it is COVID because
You'll die
you will lose oxygen to your brain, and have a freaking aneurysm,
Die of
whatever it's called. Like,
die of asphyxiation.
there you go. Yeah. So it's just, I'm just so ready for this COVID to be. It's not going to be over. I'm just ready for people to realize that it's not going anywhere. So we have to adapt
Right.
and move forward. And obviously, it's sad. Like, people that lose family members to COVID, that's the worst. Like, that's awful. I know people who have lost families to COVID, but like to other, I mean, we've been doing this for thousands of years. Like, we have to move. We can't
Yeah.
sit here and dwell on this and just act like, well, we can't do anything about it.
I think it's gonna fix this.
It's 2021, man.
I think the vaccine's gonna help though.
It is, and yeah, it already is. I mean, you can check the numbers, and it's obvioly helping. Like, people,
Yeah.
people are skeptical of it, and that's
Like,
reasonable.
as soon as our age group's able to get it, like I don't have a problem getting it.
I don't know. I probably won't get it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
And
and you have that right. Like, people, and I've seen people get mad at others because they say, "Well, I just don't like." They'll just straight up say, like, "I just don't really want to get it. Like, I don't trust the vaccine." Like, cool. Like,
it's your choice.
I'm the same way, honestly. I don't trust the vaccine. But
Well, I think like the only problem I would have with it is that it didn't, like, there were so many factors pushing it to get through
Mhm.
that it wasn't like a natural vaccine. Like, it wasn't like a natural.
yeah, like it got through fast.
yeah,
and they did it. They did do it in a year. Like, last year when all this hit, and about a month later when they came out with the supposed vaccination, they said it'd be about a year before it'd come out. And sure enough, it's been
March.
a year. So
It literally, I think it was March.
it came at I think the vaccine first hit like pharmacies and doctors' offices. I think the end of December.
2
Wasn't it?
months ago. I think.
Yeah, end of
Yeah.
December. So I mean, almost a year,
Yeah.
pretty much. So I mean,
Well, it's almost. I remember March 11th of last year was whenever we were at. We were in Missouri on the way up to the national D2 tournament, and then
Mhm.
that got canceled like as we were getting into Kansas City.
that sucks. Speaking of that, they almost won last night. Henderson. They played UAM. Out of all the teams, UAM was the 1 seed out of the GAC.
Really?
They were on the East.
Oh, are they playing in the tournament?
They were playing
Oh,
GAC
so they're
tournament.
done.
Yeah, lost in the semis last night in overtime. They were tied. I think they had lost the past 3 times to UAM by 20.
Yeah.
And then they came in last night and almost pulled it off.
UAM was so tough. The only time we beat them last year was in the tournament, and we were down by 8 with like a minute left and tied, and went overtime and beat them.
Yeah, and they're playing. I think they play SAU for the title. Like, two of the SAU, one of the worst teams in the conference last year, is now in the turn, and they went. And it normally doesn't happen. None of the Oklahoma teams, I think. Well, I mean, they beat Arkansas teams, but
Yeah.
it's normally all Oklahoma schools playing for GAC.
Southeastern was
Yeah, Southeastern
Southeastern was the best team
SWASU.
last year.
SWASU was down this year. I was kind of keeping up with that, and they were down. And Southern Nazarene, like that was the team was supposed to beat Henderson. I think it was last Wednesday, and Henderson beat them by 3. And that was the first time that Henderson had beat them at Southern Nazarene since like 2015.
Yeah.
Like, out of all the
That's
times
pretty
for that
good.
to happen, that was just crazy.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of glad I went in there. I kind of I feel my buddy Hayden was there last year, or he was there 2 years ago, last year and this year, and I just showed up, and we won, and I just didn't go back. I was like,
I mean, you just gotta do what you gotta do, man. I mean,
yeah,
I understand that. But Cade Beckwith, you know,
yeah,
from Bismarck,
class.
he is volunteer coaching at. Well, he can't coach obviously because he's not 22, but he's volunteering at Bismarck. Like he's
That's
actually,
cool.
yeah, they actually let him come out to the team, give out some pointers, and he just
For basketball,
baseball, yeah. And they're gonna be the next 2-3 years. They're gonna be really good at baseball. They've got
Bismarck?
they've got some grades coming up that are pretty good. Now, as in football, I mean, Bismarck has just been that school, and we had this conversation because, like, I came from Bismarck. There were so many guys in our senior class from Bismarck
yeah, they came
that didn't stay at Bismarck.
Yeah.
If they had, and that just, it kind
Austin
of,
Hughes.
yeah, shout out to Boston, or shout out to Birdman. But, like, it all comes down to administration and coaching, and that's something Bismarck hasn't had in a long time when it comes to football.
Well, no, their
it
their
all-
superintendent hasn't been really like.
No, unfortunately not.
Pro
But the guy they have in
athletics.
there right now, DJ Keithley, is the AD and the head football coach. They haven't had a lot of winning seasons, but they've actually won some games that they should win. Like this past season, they made it to the playoffs and almost beat McGee. Like probably they were playing with McGee until the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, McGee decided to I guess open it up and won. I think it was by 15 maybe.
Wow.
But like I said, like there have been so many players that have left that place and that community, whereas if they'd have stayed and would have had the right coaching, like it could have been good.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like me, if I would have stayed at Bismarck, I would have been the best player at Bismarck, and
Yeah.
that's not saying much. I mean, I was okay. Like people look at like when I'm up there at football games, like, and I'll be watching the football games, like not even caring about. I'm just there to watch football. People just come up to me and just start talking about when I played. And like, I don't care. Like, I didn't really do anything. I didn't win a conference championship. I didn't make it to the state title, so I really didn't do anything. So they just tell me, they're like, "Oh, you were a good quarterback," and I'm just like, I was okay. I
Could
mean,
have stayed at Bismarck, looked really good, and got some scholarships.
yeah.
That's what you should have done.
Yeah, totally. No. But yeah, if they would have had some guys stay at that school, I mean, they would have been able to compete a lot better. But like I said, it still comes down to coaching, and hate to break it to the coach, if they ever listen, I don't know who was on that coaching staff in 2016 to 27 or no.
It was like 2014 to 2017.
24, well, they beat us in 2014, so I can't say much. But like in 2015 to 2016, I mean, they just didn't care. Like 2016 was awful. They had, I think it was during the 2010s, I think Bismarck had 3 no-win seasons, and that is
That's
awful. That is like,
Freaking drought.
that's bad.
That
man.
means
That's
like
the laugh.
There's a kid who that was his sophomore, junior, and senior year, and he didn't win a single high school football game.
And I've got buddies that were on those football teams at Bismarck, and I still talk to them this day, and they were happy to be out there to be able to play football. I mean,
Well, I mean, a lot of it too is like Glen Rose, just geographically speaking, is like right off the interstate, closer to like Little Rock. Like we just pull in, like parents most people would rather live in Glen Rose than Bismarck
yeah,
because you got a 25-minute drive just to get to the interstate.
Yeah, Bismarck. I mean, I don't want to say it's in the middle of nowhere, but I mean it's out there. It's
close to
It's
it.
between Arkadelphia and Hot Springs, and there's not anything between there except Bismarck.
I wonder if
And
their attendance is like shrinking or growing.
no, it's always been the same. They've moved. They became a 3A school, I believe, in the late 90s, and that's when it all just fell apart. It just didn't go
There's- I
good
thought that-
because
there's-
they got in football. They got put into a conference with, okay, I'm about to list off a lot: Nashville, Prescott, Fordyce, the Queen, who at the time was like really good, and there was, I think, Lafayette County, and then I want to say, no, not Rising. Anyway, they were just in a conference full, and those are powerhouse. Like in the 90s, those were football powerhouse. Like every team in the 90s every state title contending team in the 90s was from South Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like Fordyce, they just
Not no more.
Fordyce just went on the
Back
to back, but I mean it hasn't been consistent like it used to be. But anyway, there's just my dad was there in the 90s, and I'm not going to go into detail about all that because I don't know enough about it to talk about it. But
Yeah.
I just know it wasn't a good deal. So, but I'm glad to see this Keeley guy come in and finally get things turned around.
Where's he from?
My senior year, he was the defensive coordinator, came to Harmon Grove, so I actually played against him.
Oh, wow.
He was a coach, but I was playing against
Right.
the coach, and I think he got the job. I want to say the year after. Yes, the year after. and I mean they've competed. I mean the first 2 years were rough because he didn't really have. I mean it was still he still had guys in there that really just didn't really want to work and
Right.
just didn't care enough about it. But now he's got a 7th grade group. That's of course that could all change. I mean when a transformation from junior high to senior high is crazy because
Yeah.
like my 9th grade year, we go into 6 freaking overtimes with Jessieville, and then my senior year we beat them by freaking 30.
Yeah.
Like wasn't even close. So like, it's just all about preparedness, toughness, and just
Is your dad going to
ethic.
stay after Trey graduates?
I have no idea. I mean
Y'all
I
talked
haven't.
about it at all?
No, not really. Not really. Not really. If he did, I probably wouldn't share it, honestly, because I just
Can you confirm or deny that?
nobody's business really. But I mean, whether he does or not, I mean, it's up to him. I'm in college, and hopefully, I'll be done with college and out on my own within a year or so. So
Shame. I'm so glad I'm doing my student teaching this coming semester because I think we'll be done with masks by the time I start doing my
I hope,
student teaching.
dude. That's
Because Rachel's angel sister is having to do her student teaching.
she has. How are they doing that online? Like, or is she actually going?
She's in the class with a mask
so
on.
she's in the class.
Yeah.
But okay, because like.
Oh, I gotta eat.
When I was in that it wasn't the psychology for yes it was psychology for the exceptional child.
Mhm.
We were supposed to go into special education classes and get hours for that.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Well, that didn't happen because of COVID, obviously, and that's when I just realized I was like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore because this has created just a completely different way of teaching and just way students. And I honestly think that students in high school have lost a year because I think
100%.
they can say they're seniors and they could say they're freshmen in college, but in reality, I mean, a lot of them are really still juniors and still
A lot of them
seniors in
just
high
like.
school.
Like, but the work, like, there was a.
The work is crazy. Like, this makes me so mad. Like, I will have online classes, and professors will. I'm not saying they do, but it just seems like they care more about you typing 500 words, having it typed a certain way, MLA, APA format, instead of actually like worrying about the assignment because that
Like
I
the
had
content
I had an
of the-
online class for special education. I don't remember. It was last semester, and this lady, she went into detail about how she wanted discussion questions like every week, and would only spend and only it only looked like I would do the discussions, and I felt like I answered them good. Like and everybody else did the same thing too in my class, and every week there was always something about like how it was written, like what's wrong with it, like what grammatical errors are there. She didn't
Judging you on
even
the
say
content?
anything. She didn't even grade me on the content of like what I wrote. So it's just I can't. I'm not having the same problem this semester. It's just she's my online teacher. Is just
There was an NBC article done about like in California, the average workload for students has increased like 23%.
really
Yeah,
doesn't surprise me.
that surprised me either. I got an email. I got placed to do my observation a week ago, and I haven't emailed my teacher yet.
Oh,
What I'm hoping is going to happen is I'm going to email her, and she can just record the lessons for me to watch. And I'm going to tell her like, I'm really busy. I'm trying to like if you just record them and post them, I'll
beat the
watch them.
system at its own system.
And then just whenever I go to sleep, hit the play button on that thing, let it play through the whole hour, get her to sign off of it on the end. Because I don't know if anybody of importance is gonna be watching this, but I've done 2 classes that have required observation. First one was Intro to Ed. I did go into this like a year before COVID.
Yeah, I
did
took
go
the same
into the class. They changed the requirement from 15 to 30 hours from like the way it was 3 years ago.
Yes.
So, did I get all 30 of them? Probably not. Did I go in the classroom at least? Yeah, probably about half of that. That's all I had time for. Next semester, I'm supposed to do an observation on a social studies teacher for my special methods of social studies class. Do you remember a teacher named Blue from Bismarck? Miss Blue?
She's
Sweet
at
lady.
Glenrose now.
She's not at Glenrose now. Is she?
There's a lady at Glenrose named Miss Blue.
Oh, she was at
She's a
Bismarck
math
last year.
teacher.
Oh, no, this wouldn't be her.
Oh,
Then.
okay.
She taught
Never
like
mind.
8th grade.
Never mind.
Anyway, so my Google Hangouts, Zoom, my email, none of my emails could work with their Bismarck email, so I couldn't do like. And I was like,
Yeah.
if you can just post anything, whatever. We just had so much trouble with it. She was just like, here, I'll just sign off on your. So I did like an hour and a half of observation.
Nice.
So this semester, like,
Same thing.
same thing.
Yeah, I'm
Probably.
with. Like that was another reason why I got out of it because like I had already done all those hours at Coda while I was at Coda. Like I spent half my week. I spent half
you had a
my
class
week.
where you observed it.
Yes, like that. That was one of the classes. That was Mr. Oh my goodness, what was his name? He was awesome. I love that dude, Mr. Honeycutt. That guy.
Honeycutt.
He was the computer teacher and he's also the education guy.
Yeah, I had him
Mr.
for
Honeycutt, yeah.
for like basic,
Yeah, so,
whatever
I mean,
it was, computer basic.
He was awesome. I love that. I love that class. But once I got to Henderson and I found out I had to do that for like another semester, I was just like, dude,
Not worth it.
no, I'm not
I
doing
feel
it.
that. I hate
And-
it. Like I feel like I've learned my content area really well, but as far as like how to actually
Yes.
do it, the only class because all we've learned is theory. Intro to Ed, we did a pretty good job because that lady had taught high school at Conway for 12 years,
Mhm.
and then the teacher we have now taught high school in Texas for 10 years, and that's a classroom management class. So I'm like, I've probably had genuinely 2 classes that have like taught me how to teach.
Mhm.
But dude, you look at something like, I'm not trying to crap on anybody's ego here, but like a lot of these kids in these education classes are going to have an anxiety attack standing in front of 30 people trying to present a lesson. Like they're just so awkward, you know?
Yeah.
Like I really don't have a problem going up in front of people and
I've got
doing
to do
a lesson.
I've got to do an internship too in communications.
For who? I mean, like for what?
That's the thing. I don't know yet. I have no idea what I like. I don't know if I have to do it in a certain like. I don't know if I'll have to like go intern at a radio station, intern at
That'd
like
be pretty cool, though.
I know it would be like that's what I'm hoping it is.
So
Intern
Stephen
at
A.
like
Smith got his start.
a newspaper place or like a.
I'll hook you up with Noah at Fox 16 Sports.
That'd be cool.
But that isn't new radio though. He writes the radio show though. Some of it.
That would still be cool. So like he writes stuff for like Westmore and everybody.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, he had to write. There was some famous millionaire guy in Little Rock who died,
Mhm.
and we were on the way because we were at Angel's aunt's house for Christmas. That got postponed like a entire month,
Mhm.
and we drove from their house to Conway. And on the way up there, he got a call from the editor, and he needed him to crank out like a 500-word mini obituary piece for this guy that died like an hour ago. So we go pick up his car, go back to his apartment, and then he just sits at his while I'm taking a massive dump. He just goes to his office and cranks out 500 words about this guy.
Does he like doing that?
Yeah, he loves it.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And well, they got downsized a little bit because of COVID. They lay off like 3 or 4 riders. So he said to work more, but they're
that's more
paying
money,
like they're
though.
paying
Yeah,
they're
that's
paying
more
him
money.
more.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, he loves it though.
That's something I've thought about too. I've thought about getting into that because if I actually apply myself, of course, I'm just lazy.
You can do it, dude. Like I've
mean,
listened to you call football games. You could do it.
Yeah, I could do it, and that's another thing I really want to do is call sports games. Like I want to be a broadcast like that. That's you obviously can't find a full-time job doing that unless you go to like
Somewhere
big time,
big.
like unless you go to like a big college somewhere, or like heck, even like the freaking pros or something. Like that's the only place you could do that for full time. But like, I would love that. That's something I would love to do. Like, hopefully, by the time I'm done here at Henderson, like I hope I've done that because that's something I want. Like I've talked to Mr. Glover, which he's over basically the radio station there, and I've talked to him about the live stream service that the Radies have.
Yeah.
And I've contacted a dude that has actually runs the live stream. Well, I haven't yet, but I'm going to. And hopefully he's going to let me come on and look at everything because he said somebody was a senior and they're actually graduating next fall.
Yeah.
So that's what I need to learn. I want to learn how to produce a show though. Like
Yeah.
that is my main goal because that's where the big money. Like if you can
Produce it, you can make money.
yes, and that's what I really want to do. Like that's my main focus right now. My second main focus, if I could work at Hooten's Arkansas football full time as a writer or something like that, that would be another like something I would love. Cause like I'm not bragging or anything. I don't like bragging, but like I am deep into high school football in Arkansas. Like I know just about where every school is. I know just about like where they're located, like how like are they good, are they bad, what are they like traditionally.
Yeah.
Like I'm that person. Like I would love to do that.
You know what you need to do? You need to get together a demo reel of you call like the best calls you've had, and even like just take a clip of like a college game or high school game, and call it how you would call it, and put that together in like a 5-minute clip, and start sending it to people.
Isn't
like,
that copyright?
No. I mean, okay. Well, I said college, but if you do, I'm talking about like go through all the games you've called and pick out like the best 2-minute, like make a 2-minute demo of like the best calls that you think you've had. Chop those up, like calling touchdowns or calling interceptions or whatever.
Yeah.
Punt blocks, whatever, and then go through and mash that up, and then like whenever you start getting into people, like, hey, here's my, like, send them a YouTube link. This is my demo or whatever.
I need to learn how to produce video. Like
No, you
video
can
editing.
You can learn how to use this software.
That's like number one. That's another thing I need to learn how to do because, like I just told you, I got a video camera I just got in today. It's like it's in at the house. I haven't even looked at it yet, and I want to learn how to do that because I plan on going to baseball games this spring, getting some film, making like a short like highlight video of like baseball or softball.
Yeah.
And
you know what you need to
people
do?
around here will eat that up, dude.
100%.
Like people around, like unfortunately in Hot Spring County, there's not a lot of that. Like there's not a lot of big name team. Well, not big name teams, but like big money pro companies.
Right.
That would like Benton.
Untapped
they have
market.
yes, Benton. They have their own live streaming service. They live stream, I think basketball, their own baseball, softball, football games, and it's pretty good. Like
Yeah.
on a like pretty good. And the service that produced Glen Rose's games this past was really good too. Like I was impressed with the software they had. It's basically just the OBS software like you're using right now. Like it's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, video editing, I want to get into that big time because people around here would eat that up
100%.
and that goes a long way.
You know what you should do? You should take like a setup like this and have like a camera behind home plate set up, and then you have your own like face camera in a booth somehow, and then just like switch.
No, man.
But
I'm
like,
going to be on the field. I'm going to be on the field, okay, with the camera. I'm going to be in the dugout with whichever team that I'm covering, and I'm going to get every raw like picture video that I can.
oh, so you're talking like making like a highlight.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were
Like,
like calling.
I want well that too. Like I would like to do that, but I don't have the money to do that.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm trying to just get 2 cameras and get you a little.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but I gotta pay off college first. Like that's gotta come
Yes.
first. That is in the works in the future, but like just no right. Like this video camera, I'm about to use the ever loving crap out of it until it dies.
It's good.
Because I've contacted besides Powens, I still need to contact him. I haven't found any contact info for that guy yet. So I
Can't find anything on Pone's website. It's a joke.
Ouch.
Take that, wife.
Oh man, but yeah, I've already gone to 2 games. I went and watched Bismarck play Fountain Lake this past Monday, and Fountain Lake won. They had a kid that was probably pitching low 80s, and Bismarck couldn't touch him. But I had already said, you know, I plan on coming on the field, you know, getting some videos. Like I want to, and I'm hoping this happens. I want to be on the field, and I want to be able to capture the kid hitting like a walk-off double, triple, a freaking home run, and I want to catch like every bit of it because they like people around here will eat that up. They love that stuff.
100%.
Like any type of video, like the mini videos I made this past season of football, they were
Mhm.
awful, like god awful. Like they're not really what I wanted to make, but they were just they were coming straight off my iPhone. I have an app
Yeah.
it's not terrible. I mean,
You should get one of those little handheld like Osmo gimbal things.
yes, I have a handheld little tripod thing that I was supposed to put my phone on, and it didn't come with the screw that goes into the platform for your tripod.
Yeah.
So it was useless. So I had to take it back, get my money back for it.
You get one of those gimbals, dude. Like no matter which way you turn it, it keeps the camera level.
Yeah.
They're like $200.
Yeah, it's rough. But yeah, that's the plan right now. I want to eventually, like, I need to start getting videos out. I want to start making my own videos like you did.
Trying.
Like you did. J&A's, like when we did all that, like those are still.
There's two of those videos. The intros are still like my favorite
Oh yeah.
that I've made.
Yeah, they're legit. I'm not gonna lie. They were.
I'm not trying to do the hype thing as much anymore. I really just want to I want to turn this into I want to turn this podcast into something that I could eventually think about quitting my teacher's job to do, making enough money to do it.
I got you. I understand that.
I don't want to teach my entire life, dude. Like we're doing we had a whole segment on anti-racism Wednesday, and we were looking at statistics about how males and minorities are the most often sent to detention, most often arrested on campus.
Mhm.
Like, dude, just don't be a butthole to people.
Exactly.
Don't send people to detention unless they need it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got my lesson for today. Good.
Dude, the thing that happened with our buddy Jacob the other day,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
when he said that,
Did he get in trouble or?
I don't know. Like he didn't really go into detail about like what happened to him. Like I don't know.
You want to call him up? See?
Sure. Yeah. You want to call him or?
Yeah, you call him. Just put it whenever he answers. Put it up to the mic.
Yeah, I got you. Anyway, explain to the folks.
So for those of y'all that don't know, our good friend Jacob Lowry is doing his student teaching over at a unnamed school, locally though. And one of the teachers, they were short-staffed or something. A college student got put into a situation where he had to watch kids. This kid was not being cooperative and was being really, really loud, and he drew a circle on the board.
Hey, what are you doing?
Anyway, here we go.
I'm at Kayla's. What are you doing?
Me and Isaac are recording on his podcast right now. We were about to talk about your situation that you had happen the other day at school.
Don't name what school it is.
Yeah, don't name what school it is.
You immediately. You talking about when I made that kid stand at the board?
Yes. Yeah, just go into detail about what exactly happened, and then like what happened. Like, did you get punished?
No names and don't say the school.
Yeah.
So, basically, there was a teacher missing, and so my cooperating teacher, who I'm with, was watching that class, and so I was in charge of her class, the class that I had been watching over and teaching. And they're eating breakfast in the classroom, and this kid would not sit down, and kept standing up, walking around the room, talking.
And what grade is this? I'm sorry,
Fifth.
Fifth?
Very good.
Fifth
Yeah.
grade. Wow.
And after about probably legit sixth or seventh time of me saying, dude, sit down, I was like, dude, I'm fine. And so, remember Coach Lim used to do it to us. I remember him doing it to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
I had him come over to the board and stand there, and I drew a circle about 3 inches higher than his nose. I was like, put your nose in that circle and stand there. And so he's standing there, and then all of a sudden he puts his hood up. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I know, put your hood up. And it turns out he was crying. And I see his shoulder start shaking. So I walked over there, and I couldn't tell if he was mad at me, and so I'm obviously not concerned if a fifth grader wants to be mad, but it doesn't look good for me if he just starts trying to hit me, or if he was that distraught. But yeah, he was that distraught that the kids were I think they were laughing because they'd never seen something like that before, instead of laughing at him.
Mhm.
But my teacher was in just kind of looking in the hallway, and I was like, yo, before you come in here. His name we call him Solo. I was like, Solo is upset. He was under his desk. I let him get down, and he just went under his desk. And I told her, I was like, I made him stand at the board with his nose on the board. And right as all that was happening, all the kids left for PE, And so he didn't go. And I'm like, where, what the heck? And like I walk back in, and she's like got him wrapped up in a big hug, and he's like weeping on her shoulder. She's like, it's okay. Like,
And you said this is 5th grade, right?
Yes.
I'll have to bleep that kid's
Bruh.
name out.
And she's like, you tell me when you're ready. Like we can stay here as long as you need. And finally, he like stopped crying. He's like, okay, I'm ready. And he went to PE. And then like she like talked to me outside, like not even in the hallway. Like she made me come outside of the school building, and told me that that was malicious and restrictive, and how I should have done something that made his, encouraged his behavior to do the right thing instead of just, doing that to him. Like I was like, okay.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty dumb.
Pretty soft.
That's soft. That's just.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Did anything happen to you like when you got to back to college or anything? Like, did they have to report that or something? Or?
No, I don't think. I mean, she may write something up in her review of me.
They better.
And she
not.
said that she was like, "That's the only thing I think you need to work on, Mr. Lowry, is your discipline." I told a girl a couple weeks ago. I didn't tell her to shut up directly. I just told her, I was like, if you'd shut up and do your work, you'd already been done.
Unfortunately, you can't do that.
Yeah,
anymore. That's just.
And I see where that one might have been like.
Dude, you have to teach high school. You gotta teach high school.
Yeah, but like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's unfortunate, but
That's hilarious.
I can see that one. Like, I'll kind of wear that one. Like, yeah, you're right. But like to me, the one with solo,
that's
that's
just
pretty weak.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. But anyway, well, thanks, man. I appreciate you explaining all that because we didn't know exactly.
We didn't want to cast judgment until we knew the whole story.
And I could give some content.
Yeah, appreciate it, bud.
I'll see y'all.
All right, have a good one.
I hope that doesn't show up on his review from that teacher.
I hope not. And I think you're fine on the name because he didn't mention the school. So
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, it's okay unless people know. I mean,
This is gonna get like 5
it's just. I
views
mean. When you say you should teach high school, like what's that kid gonna do when he gets to high school? Like, is he gonna get worse? Is he gonna get like how much worse is he gonna get? Like,
well, that's the deal, man. Like we.
Gotta move.
Perfect book for this scenario. In our Discipline with Dignity book, talking about disciplined kids in the classroom, he talks about you have to make sure, like, whenever you can't have boundaries, and then when students, like, you can't have, like, you have like your framework, and then whenever students step outside what's acceptable, you can't just let it go unacknowledged because that just means that it's acceptable.
Yeah.
So you got to address it.
It's almost like being a parent at school. Like,
Yeah.
when they're young like that, like, you can't just teach them, like, well, it's okay. Like, he didn't need to do that.
They grow up and they act like that, then no one's going to want to be their friend.
Yeah, no one's going to want to be their friend. They're just going to act like hellions at the house, and who knows? Who knows what the situation...
And this may have been the first time this kid ever acted.
Who knows, like, what the situation is at this young man's house? Like, I mean, you never know.
No,
he
that's true.
could be living a really rough life, and
he may normally be a good student. This may just be the one time. They didn't respect my boy Jacob, dude.
No.
Just didn't do it.
No. I better not say that.
Just don't say any names, but say it.
Well, I was just going to say that teachers' kids are the worst because.
Oh yeah, we are.
Well,
for the record,
it's different. Our generation of teacher
Aaron
kids.
and I are both teacher kids.
Yes, our generation of teachers' kids are not as bad. Like, nowhere near as bad as now. Because, like,
you can't just loop everybody into that though. Not every teacher's kid now.
Mostly nowadays. I mean, you see.
Back in my day.
Like, everybody. Like, it's not good.
He'll be all right.
I don't know though. My kid, if he gets in trouble in class, like, I'm going to him first. And if I need to discipline him first, like, he's the first person I'm going to. I'm not going straight to a teacher and getting on the teacher before not even consulting with my son.
Yeah.
Like that, and
100%.
That is what's happening in these schools. Like, parents don't think their kids are doing anything wrong, and they go straight to the administration, straight to the kids, straight to the coaches.
Yeah. And it's the kid's fault.
And it's the kid's fault. Like,
yeah. Well, that's one thing I'm worried about too. Is like this new generation, or I hate to say,
Like, how do you think those people that are doing that? How do they think their kids are going to treat them when they're out of the house, and then they don't want anything to do with you?
yeah,
And that's what happens. Like, you defend them all those years, and then they get to college, and everything goes wrong to them, and they have nowhere to go, so they come back to you, and then you tell them, well, if you're in college, you should be able to make your own decisions now.
yeah. Well, you can't let, especially when a kid's young, you can't let them partake in behavior that makes other people not like them.
Yeah.
Because like if they're not socially accepted, they're gonna have major problems later in their life.
Yeah.
But what I'm worried about is the social media generation, because it's not
it's
really
bad.
so. It's I think it's in football a little bit, but not so much because just the sheer numbers you have to where like if you don't want to do your job, we'll find someone else to do your job for you.
Oh, it's like that in football. 100%.
It's great. That's what I like
Yeah.
about football.
Yeah.
Basketball.
It's that way. It's the same way.
If you have like, it sucks because in high school, if you have one good player who's like
you
going to
can go
college
deep.
to play,
Yeah.
you can beat anyone.
Yes.
With one good player.
If he has the right attitude.
If
and
you, yeah, right,
and he's a team player. Like,
right. All that being said, though, he knows or she that they're that good that
Gotta make this
they're just
gender
going to have
neutral.
different rules for
gotta
them.
make this gender neutral podcast.
They,
Isaac.
them,
Yeah.
Zer. If whoever they are knows they're the best player, they're going to have like different rules for them. I mean, even subconsciously, like, but well, what I'm worried about is like in basketball, which I learned a lot from Coach E, is just like half his job is just managing personalities and egos on a basketball team because you're only dealing with 12 guys that are around each other all the time, and you're going to have like personality clashes every now and then.
Mhm.
Football, I'm sure there is some stuff like that, but like the group is so big that one person is not going to be able to throw off the whole group.
Yeah.
Basketball,
I'm with you. Yeah.
basketball,
And I cannot wait. Like, I don't know if you've seen it. The new Last Chance U series is coming out.
Oh yeah,
with
on
the
basketball.
JUCO basketball. This isn't NAI D3 D2. This is JUCO basketball. Like,
I'm ready to see that.
that's equivalent. JUCO basketball. Honest to God, it's in there with like Arkansas 5A 4A basketball. Like, it's not even like there are high schools in Arkansas
That could beat JUCOs.
that, well, I wouldn't say beat, but look and sound a lot better than JUCO's basketball. Like, it's just, I mean, it's becoming more popular though, because like, for instance, Eric Musselman, Arkansas head coach, he's got Mason Jones. He had Mason Jones last year. He was a JUCO product. He went to JUCO for 2 years. Picked him up when he got to, well, he didn't pick him up. Mike Anderson did, but Mike really didn't do anything. I mean, he didn't play Mason or anything. But then Eric Musselman gets there. Musselman doesn't have anybody. He's only got like, I think he probably had a total of 10 guys playing last year, which is rough. Even that. And he's a good example. Like, JUCO base. If they had a JUCO baseball show come out, I would watch that over and over. Because JUCO baseball, it is a machine, dude. Like, Arkansas has gotten half their baseball players from JUCOs this year. Like, every Arkansas player that you hear of that's playing right now is most likely from a JUCO.
Well, that's the best thing about baseball. So, like, the road to the pros.
I'm deep into that, by the way.
Do what?
I'm deep into college baseball right now.
Well, like the road, it's baseball. It's just like the road to the pros is completely different than basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no one and done year. If you don't get drafted, you can just go back and still play college, which I think that should be like, it should be every sport.
I think that should, I'm with you. That should
That should be every sport. And
like, what is wrong with,
and when you're 18, you should be able to go make money as an entertainer playing a pro sport. But whenever the baseball is like very insular. Like there's summer league, and then college, pros, high school, but there's like a whole universe there that's not really there in football because like there's no summer, like there's no pads on, smacking helmets, summer football.
Mhm.
There's a little bit of that in basketball with AAU, not really as much as baseball, but baseball there's a completely different process between going from a 16-year-old high school baseball player to a 22-year-old professional baseball player than other
Yeah,
sports.
and and that's why they have the minor league system for baseball,
Which is
'cause,
great.
yeah, it's perfect because you can get drafted, but then after you're drafted, you'll spend probably 3 or 4 years in the minor leagues. Oh, Caleb Thompson's talking to me. You want to get him on the podcast?
Go for it.
Hey, Caleb, you're on the Done Before Dawn podcast. What do you want to say? I said you're on the Done Before Dawn podcast with me and Isaac. What do you want to say?
You're speaking to the world, buddy.
I'm just about to lose my mind from working 24/7 and homework.
I feel that.
I'm currently sitting in a donut shop doing accounting. So.
Ooh, that's not
Yeah.
fun. Well, hey, let me call you back. I'm in the middle of a podcast. It won't be long.
Yeah.
Okay, call me back when you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll wrap it up real quick. Now, one of the best days ever was whenever me, you, and Dre went to go see him I just watched him make donuts for like an hour. That was so satisfying. I have no idea why.
He's in the middle of a lot of stuff. It's like, but before we sign off, I want to talk about this right now because they're probably going to win a state title and win a the Viola Longhorns.
Viola.
Okay. Not traditionally, they've always been a basketball school. They never had football. Obviously, they've always been a true basketball school. Like their girls' basketball program is really good. They played in the state title last year against Kirby,
Turby.
and they lost. Their head basketball coach, okay, a legend basketball, like really good basketball coach. He has triplet sons that are legit that could probably play D1 basketball if they wanted, but they're baseball
Really?
guys. This coach and his 3 sons just moved down to Viola this past off season before basketball season. They moved from Missouri. They moved out of a town called Dora, Missouri. 2 years ago, when these kids were sophomores, and this is how good they were playing in the state. I want to say the state finals as sophomores for Dora, this 1A school, and 1A in Missouri is the same equivalent as 1A in Arkansas. So,
Okay.
anyway. And this is a power move too. Like I respect the dude for doing it. Game is tied, it's tight. It's tight. It's the end of the game. Come down the wire. His team calls a foul. It's one of the triplets. They get called a foul, or they get fouled.
Okay.
Anyway, well, that triplet's not very good at shooting free throws.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
this
yeah.
dude, okay, I mean, they all look alike. I've seen pictures. They look just alike. Like same hair, same facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
This dude calls that kid over to him, and the other triplet just nonchalantly walks to the free throw line without even flinching or nothing. Like acts like, because honestly, it was pretty. Like I saw the play, he's standing there next to his brother who had just got fouled. So pretty much, I mean,
No one's really.
nobody really paid attention to it. So yeah, he shot the free throws and made both of them, and they ended up losing. But then some freaking Karens went back and watched the film, and sure enough, they caught him doing it.
Okay, that's not being Karens though, because that's
Still,
that is
though, I
cheating.
mean, that's a power move,
It's
though. I mean, you
cheating,
got to
though.
respect the
I
man
respect
for
it,
doing
but
that.
Still,
They still won the game, though. Like, what does it matter? Like, they won the game.
Oh, the
like,
other team won the game?
Yes, the other team won the game. So, like,
oh yeah.
why does it matter? So
Yeah.
now, like, this guy has, like, a huge cloud over his head because he's a terrible coach.
That's hilarious though.
But I respect the man.
I would
for
hire
doing it. You got to respect the game.
Do whatever it takes to win, man.
I know, and they're probably going to win a state title in 1A because, like, I don't see anybody in 1A stopping Viola right now.
No.
So
Who's is it Green not Greenbrier? The 1A school, he has like 13.
state titles? It was Guy Perkins, I think.
Guy Perkins.
Yeah, Guy Perkins. They had that
Their
coach there
their
for
coach
years.
is their
but
coach is awesome.
he retired, and I mean they're still good, but they're not on the same level. But yeah, 1A, Viola is going to win it in boys. Girls, I don't know because Kirby won it last year in girls in 1A, and they got beat by 20 the last night by Bradley, which Bradley isn't that great. I mean,
No. I'm ready to see what Dre and them
you
do
ever
at
been to
Clinton,
Bradley,
though.
Arkansas?
Oh yeah, we did a forestry competition down there.
You talking about the middle of
Nowhere.
BFE, son?
Nowhere. I'd never want to live in South Arkansas
No, that's just
unless it's like
no
not even El
offense.
Dorado.
No offense to people down there if you are listening to this, but just I don't want to live any.
I mean all. Of
I don't want to
these.
live. I know, I don't want to live further than Magnolia. Like, that's as far south as I'll go.
Magnolia?
Yes.
I don't know.
I might go to El Dorado. El Dorado's pretty nice.
My dream is to be a teacher coach at Rogers or like Jonesboro.
That's where the money is.
Yeah.
Jonesboro's good at basketball.
Our who was the guy who played ball for me? Noah played football with him.
Ellis?
No, Noah. Sorry, Delshaw, Rachel's husband, Ryder, who we talked about earlier. Ryder for Fox.
Oh, yeah.
He played with. He's playing in the NFL now. The guy who came out of Fayetteville or Bentonville. His name started with a T.
Ty Story?
Maybe.
No, we wouldn't Ty Story.
He's playing for the Chargers, and he's making like.
Oh, Hunter Henry.
No. Can't remember who it was. Dude, someone's playing for the
KJ Hill?
KJ Hill. It was KJ
He was
Hill.
at North Little Rock.
No, he's not.
Yes, he was in high school. KJ
No,
Hill?
that's right. Yeah.
was at
Noah.
North
Sorry,
Little Rock.
I got my. I know 3 guys who they're his
I
dad's.
told you, I know my.
His dad's a coach at
I
Bentonville,
know
and
my
the
high
other
school
2 guys play football for.
I know my
Bentonville.
high school football history.
Yeah,
bro.
KJ Hill is at the Chargers, I think now.
Yes,
making
yeah.
like
He's playing with Hunter Henry.
yeah, making like over $1 million.
Yeah.
Contract. Anyway, Noah played football with him at North Little Rock. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And he was friends with him. Still has him on Snapchat. Says the Snapchat stories are insane, obviously, because he's living in Cali and has money. So he said that he told me all this when we were coming back to pick up his car when he had to write that obituary.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling me all this, that their coach got beat by Bentonville West, and a lot of the board members were mad about it. And apparently, because you remember KJ Hill got caught up in that money thing that they were worried, or people thought
yeah,
the school,
Bobby Bolden? Not Bobby. Was it Brad or Bob? I think it was Brad. Brad Bolden. He's out of Parkview.
Yes. Okay. Noah said
Bunch of guys were involved in that.
Yeah. Noah said that obviously knows the coach in KJ Hill, said that all it was the coach asked KJ and like 2 other dudes to go pick up food for the team, gave them the team credit card or debit card, and the bill was like $600 for food, which is,
For a 7A school.
for 7A, yeah.
That's
But
normal.
Yeah, and everybody apparently it's leaked or whatever. Everybody got freaked out about it, and all they did was just pay for like
That's
a Friday.
all that happened?
Yeah, that's what he said. Which I mean, I believe him, but
I mean, he was there.
he was there. But he said that all that happened was
Really? So what I heard it was just a huge scant where he was getting kids from other schools to come to North Little Rock to play. Like, that's what
I
I
don't
heard.
think so. I think what he told me was like it all blew up after he gave KJ the team debit card or credit card to go pick up food.
It happened like
Spent $600, and
my
then
junior year, maybe 2014, sophomore year.
yeah, that's when Noah graduated.
Yeah.
He graduated college. He would have graduated 2013.
Crap.
What's up?
Andrew and the boys will be playing Newport in the first round of state.
Newport
Harding
won.
Harding Academy won. So wait a minute.
No, they're playing Harding Academy if they won.
No, Newport lost, so they'll play Newport. Newport got the 2 seed.
Oh, okay. Harding Academy got the 1 seed.
Yes, they beat Newport somehow.
Dang, they're freaking okay. Respect. Anyway, but yeah, that whole deal with KJ Hill, and now he's in. This is the point I was making. Let me get back to this before we leave.
Well, you know why he didn't go to Arkansas? Because he went to Ohio State.
Yeah, because Ohio State's way better than Arkansas.
Well, not even that. Like, KJ went on a visit, and this is the time.
Oh, yeah.
This is at the time of Brett Bielema, which I mean, I honestly think Brett Bielema ran Arkansas's program into the ground. People can say what they want about Bobby Petrino and John L. Smith.
Bobby Petrino won though.
But Bielema ran Arkansas's football program into the ground, and you can argue with me all you want, but when you go from the Big Ten and you're competing for Big Ten titles, and we get you in the SEC, like we expect to win SEC games, and he only won 13.
Yeah.
He went 13-34 in the SEC.
Yeah.
Bad, not acceptable. But anyway, so he went on a visit with Bielema, and Bielema offered him, and Bielema told him, like, we're committed to you, like you just stay committed to us, and we'll offer you. KJ goes on a visit to Ohio State. Doesn't commit to Ohio State or anything. Okay? Just goes on a visit. Apparently, Bielema finds out and says, look, man, we can't trust you anymore because we told you not to go on any visits or anything, and we said we'd offer you. And Bielema just said we're not going to offer you, and that's why KJ went to Ohio State.
Good for him, dude. Freaking,
I know.
how about just like get the best players you can get no matter what?
I know. Like, I'm all about chasing in school in state talent. Like we just got two probably the best players in Arkansas from Mont Mel today. Like James Joyner, Andrew Chambly, whatever his name is, offensive tackle. But yeah, like I will forever hate Brett Bielema for that. For that reason.
Noah said that KJ went to their coach, Brad, whatever his name is.
Bolding.
Yeah. There was a huge thing that people wanted him gone or was mad at him for losing whatever against Bentonville West.
Well, he couldn't
be Bentonville West.
he couldn't get over the hump. He couldn't get past the semifinals.
Right. So people wanted him gone, and his whole defense was like, he was like, I have to teach like 3 classes a day, and he was like, those guys up there teach.
Holy crap!
That's
That's crazy because J.R. Eldridge, okay, spent 1 year at Bryant. Okay, he was Arkadelphia's coach for years. Okay, won 2 state titles Arkadelphia in 2017 and 18, and North Little Rock hires him before last year started. So he gets things going. Like it starts out rough, but he had North Little Rock in the state title game. Like they went on the road and beat Bentonville. A lot of people last year thought Bentonville was the team that was going to beat Bryant, which with the way Bryant has looked for the last 3 years, nobody was beating Bryant this past year. But took them to the state final and almost pulled it off. Like they were in the game until the fourth quarter, and they just ran out of gas. Eldridge leaves. Okay, he goes to Farmington, which is up north where the money is.
The guy where I told you about the special teams guy I talked to at Henderson, he's from Farmington.
Really?
Yeah.
So yeah, Farmington, brand new football field, brand new facility, like renovated. They've renovated everything. It looks awesome up there. Well, from inside sources that I have, okay.
Look at this dude, Andrew Winanowski.
I'm big time. He left because they wouldn't make him a football sporting coach only as a head coach. They wouldn't do it. They said he had to teach 2 classes, I think.
See,
just like that.
By law, you have to teach at least one. If you're not
a director or anything.
Yeah, if you're not an AD and you're not at like a private school, obviously by Arkansas law, you have to teach at least 1 class. Dudes at Bentonville West are teaching 1 PE class a day, spending the next 5.
They wouldn't give him that.
Yeah, and they wouldn't give dude at North Little Rock that either, and that's why he was like, he's like, I'm having to teach 3 classes, then watch film, then schedule everything, and
that's why he's at Parkview now, and he's probably going to win a state championship next year.
Yeah, and he's probably teaching like 1 class a day.
Yeah, and he's completely like rejuvenated that program because I remember before he took that job, Parkview. And this includes all those Little Rock schools in football were obsolete. Like they were the worst teams in Arkansas. Like it had turned into basketball school, which is not a bad thing. Right. I mean, it's nice, but football's different.
Football makes money.
Yeah, and it makes a lot more money than a lot more sports in the state, unfortunately. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got mad because he was like, all my staff's. You know, I heard. Last thing before we go, I heard Pat McAfee talking about he got his old West Virginia coach back on the line, and they had beat. This is in like 20.
Oh, who was his coach's
name?
I'm trying to think who.
I can't remember his name.
It is.
They beat Georgia though, out of the Big East. The Big East. They went down to Georgia.
Yes.
Played Georgia at home. Pat said they spent like the weekend like just getting hammered, and they went out there and beat them by like 3 points. And like he said, like all the fans in the streets were barking at him or whatever. That coach said that because he left from them to go to Michigan, he wanted after he had won the Big East title, had beat top 2 SEC team. He wanted to get because he was losing staff because like a lot of the big schools who had more money were paying his staff way more because they could. All he wanted was $50,000 more to pay his staff, not even him, just to keep his staff. And he wanted $50,000, and he wanted $50,000 and I can't remember what it was, $50,000 and something, but the AD like wouldn't give him after he just beat Georgia. He wouldn't give him $50,000 to keep his staff, and like half his staff left, and he was like, he got $1 million raise going to Michigan or whatever. So anyway,
Wow.
anything you want to say before we sign off?
Oh, thanks for having me on, man. This looks really good.
I got to
Looks
get rid of
really
this because doing this in the middle is not fun. Switching the cameras.
How would you do that during the show? What's another way you do that?
I could have each camera because I have 3 mics going through this one mixer.
Yeah.
I could have 2 mics going through the 2 individual mixers, plug it in there, and then on the software you can set it to where if microphone 1 goes over 40 decibels or whatever, it turns on camera 1.
Oh, okay. That's
So
I got
yeah,
you.
and this sucks. I'm fixing to drop probably $30 to get like a workstation thing, and then get 2 inputs, and then make these 3 inputs. So like microphone 1 or 2 get over 40 decibels, camera 1 turns on. That way I don't have to hands off. So,
Nice. I like
yeah.
it.
And it's not gonna be that much more money either.
It's a good setup.
Thanks, man.
It's a good
All right,
setup.
Aaron. Thanks for coming on. We will see y'all later. Thanks for tuning into the Done Before Dawn podcast. Check us out at Skin and Bones Jones and at Aaron W.99.
Follow me on. Go follow the Countywide Football Show too. I'm almost to 2,000 followers, and that would be huge
Is that on
because like
Facebook?
yeah, I would obviously be registered as like the #1 sports outlet page on Facebook in Hot Spring County. So that would be greatly appreciated.
Make it happen, boys and girls.
Follow me on Twitter too. I'm trying to get my Twitter profile to get out there. Like I've been posting.
Yeah, the DVD, the Done Before Dawn thing, I already got suspended because I had the account for like a week, but I didn't post anything because I was waiting on Hannah. We had to reschedule her thing.
Yeah.
I got suspended. I hate Twitter.
Really?
I'm only doing it. The only reason I got Twitter is for this. So.
Well, I've got Twitter. I'm keeping up with scores, like trying to
Yeah.
get people's names. Like you can follow me at Twitter _ or not _ lowercase. This is everything lowercase. Aaron _W_12. So that's Aaron _W_12.
All right, everybody. We will see y'all later. Thank
Just
you
hit
for
200
tuning in.
followers too.
Do what?
Just hit 200 followers.
On Twitter? My man's making big moves.
Yep.
You get featured. If you get Pat McAfee to look at your thing, get him on the show.
If only.
All right, everybody. We will see y'all later. Thank y'all for stopping by.